SRS, Power FM. Sort, niet zing dat, niet zing dat, niet zing dat, niet zing dat. Van harte goedemiddag van Waga. Van voor nu fout de fout tang everybody all over and around. In het bijzonder natuurlijk de Suriname Maandag de Suriname Umaf Mibaya. Die is grond tapu ude. En je volgt ons via www.radiosrs.sr. Ja, dat is onze link www.radiosrs.sr. Ik doe een invaldienst zoals je merkt bent. Alla fascia toch? Collegiaal. So we do it. Just remember we doing it together. Vandaag 12 mei 2025. Met de complimenten van GoTo en TeleG. Is het dus tijd voor Surinamers overal. En vandaag ga ik praten met een Surinamer die geboren is in Gambia. Uit een Surinaamse moeder. De Gambia. Ik vind het zeer bijzonder natuurlijk dat ik richting die kant heen mag bellen. En ik ben er heel erg trots op dat een Surinamer daar woont. Hè. Half Gambianees, heeft niet Takembo. En half Suriname. En deze man is wel heel erg trots hoor. Hij komt uit een Surinaamse moeder die hem heeft opgevoed. Met zoveel van onze Surinaamse culturele natuurlijk. En zaken die erbij komen kijken zoals muziek, film, taal, folklore natuurlijk. Natuurlijk de boeien en de okkersoep, de bara en nog veel meer. Thuis planten ze zelf ook nog zo propo, antroa, madame Jeannette en een heleboel andere dingen. Dus bij deze hoor je en merk je hoe belangrijk het is om toch uiteindelijk je roots niet te vergeten. Je naam talking about. Als zo die ding zet, we gaan callen. En dan is het dus fijn om dus in gesprek te gaan met deze man. Keep it locked right here on 96.3 FM. En ja, Surinamers overal, dat doen we dus van maandag tot en met vrijdag. Van 15:15 tot pakweg zo'n 1 uur. Of iets daarvoor. En natuurlijk onze partners Tele, Zuur en GoTo. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon and welcome in our program. Is this Mr. Malleh Sallah? Hello.
Hello, yeah, this is Malleh Sallah.
Malleh Sallah, how are you doing? Welcome in our program, Surinamers Overal, which means Surinamese people are everywhere. How you doing, sir?
Right on.
Me there for you, me brother.
I'm bong.
Nice to hear you speaking your mother tongue, man. What's up?
Yes, I'm proud to do that.
Yeah, man. I've read a little piece of your biography, and I can feel your energy. I can feel how happy you are to be in contact and to be heard in the land of your mother, Suriname.
Absolutely, it's very exciting, and we have not had the opportunity yet to visit Suriname, but this is actually a nice step towards visiting Suriname.
Yeah, man. Now, welcome. You're very, very welcome, especially in our program. And yes, our guest today, born and living in the Gambia. And the question I always ask is, it's your mother is your pride, because your father also, of course, but your mother is from Suriname, and she's a special lady for you. And I would like to know, who is this special lady? Who's your mother and who's your father? Tell us a little bit about your mother. Now, later, let's start with your father, because I think the story of your father will be shorter than that of your mother.
Yes.
Who are they?
Well, my father is Gambian.
Yes.
He comes from Senegalese and a Gambian heritage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My father actually on all of the world. Can you hear me?
I think we have a little of connection difficulties, maybe. I hear you, but then you're off and on again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Loud and clear.
Okay, so my father is of Gambian and Senegalese origin.
Okay.
So you see, with that, and my mother having heritage from Suriname and the Netherlands and Indonesia, I am a Mixilesi.
Oh, you are Moxalesi?
Moxilesi. There you go.
all right. That means
But my father was a master mariner, and he was a captain of ships.
A captain of
that
ships
sailed all over the world.
Oh, okay.
So you can imagine in the 50s, a black man at 27 years having command of a ship that was sailing all over the world.
Yes, that is very, very special thing, though.
Absolutely.
That is
Absolutely.
very
We are very proud of that in our heritage.
All right.
He met my mother. My mother is from the Vandenberg family.
Vandenberg.
Family, yes.
Oh, familie van den Berg. Okay. All right.
And he was friends. My father's base was in London.
Oh, okay.
And he actually met my mother through my mother's uncle, who was a Dutch guy that had a nightclub in Liverpool in the UK.
Oh.
So my mother was visiting her uncle.
All right.
And he introduced my mother to my father.
That's the way it went. So that's the way. That's
the way it went.
That's how they met.
That's how they met.
All right.
So they met in Liverpool, and they got married in Liverpool.
Yes.
And eventually, my mother actually joined my father on the ship, because it's during those days only the captain could take his wife with him.
Oh.
So my mother was actually a very strong woman and the only woman on the ship.
Wow! Between all these men.
Between all these men and sailing all over the world.
Wow!
So it was she's narrated quite a lot of good, very nice stories of her voyages traveling with my father.
Wow, this is very this is not usual, a story like this. I mean, like, it's not,
absolutely not. It has a very, very, very nice twist to it. So, well, eventually the Gambia got independence in 1965.
Yes.
And the Gambia, as a new country, decided that they wanted to establish a seaport.
A seaport. Okay.
Yes. So, with my father's experience being a seaman, he's a master mariner. The president of the Gambia invited my father to come back home to set up the Ports Authority.
Okay. Out of his experience.
So now you see how my mother maybe actually became the first Surinamer to come back home to the roots, to Africa.
Yes.
To live in Africa.
Back in the days. Do you remember when they went back to the Gambia?
They went back to Gambia in 1967.
1967, they went back to Gambia. Wow.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now.
So they moved to the Gambia, and my father was actually appointed the first managing director of the Gambia Ports Authority.
Wow. So it's like he had the highest position.
He had a very high position in government.
In government also.
Yes, and he gave up his job as a master mariner, a very secure job, to return to the Gambia, to a country that had just become independent, and to sacrifice and volunteer and build up our maritime industry in the Gambia.
So that is very special, man. That is something which, your father is a piece of history, a part of history.
He is a piece of history, and my mother stood by. My mother was there, standing by him all through this period.
Wow! And literally.
So my mother moved to Gambia in 1968. I might be 1 or 2 years, one year or so wrong with this, but it was around between 1967 and 1968.
All right.
And when she moved to Gambia,
yes,
my mother was also an entrepreneur. She was not someone that just sat down and raised children. She raised us very, very well, but she also decided to. She also had entrepreneurial skills.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is where my skills as a businessman came from.
From your mother.
From my mother, yes.
And the leadership came from your father.
No, well, actually, my father, I guess, the discipline of a master mariner, which is very important in business when you talk about discipline.
Yes.
But my mother gave me my entrepreneurial drive.
Wow! You have it from your mother. All right.
So maybe we talk about my mother now.
Yeah, we have to talk about, because your father did. Your father. Well, he did a lot. He did a lot.
He did a lot.
Traveling the world, fall in love
with my mother
from Suriname, Surinamese lady, and wow, and then just sacrifice everything just to go back to his country, the Gambia, to help build it up to what it is.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's something you must be very proud of.
Absolutely, very, very proud of, and it resonates to who we are today as his children.
Wow. Okay. So your mother, where does the story started? Of course, a long time ago.
Mama Gina.
So tell me a little bit about Mama Gina. She was from Suriname. Did she tell you which part from Suriname she came from? Paramaribo, maybe Saramaka?
My mother was born in Paramaribo.
Yes. Okay.
Her mother came from the Vandenberg family.
Vandenberg
family.
Oh, Vandenberg. Okay.
Vandenberg family. I was a famous Dutch footballer also from the same. That's one of my mother's cousins.
Ah, that's Vandenberg. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very well-known family name. Yeah, family too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So my mother came from her mother was Surinamese from the Vandenberg family, and her father's name was Kamerling.
Your family name was Kamerling.
Her father's name, my mother's father's name was Kamerling.
Oh, Kamerling. Okay. Kamerling and from
Vandenberg.
Vandenberg. All right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So my mother was born in Paramaribo and grew up in Paramaribo.
Yes.
And she moved to Holland when she was 18 years old.
Okay, from Paramaribo to Holland. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So she lived there and did her thing. But at what age did she met your father? Did she get introduced to you?
That's a good question. She met. My mother was born in 1939.
Mm-hmm.
And she met my father. She married my father in 1967, if I'm right. 1966. Sorry, 1966.
1966. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So that's a calculation. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
But those people, they met themselves in a very early. This was very early.
Yes, they were in a very early age, and my father was a captain of a ship.
Yes.
And my mother became actually the first lady of the ship.
The first lady of the ship. Wow.
Yes.
And I
yes.
mean, like that she wanted to do that. I'm thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Like she chose to.
So
you
can see from the onset that my mother was she was an adventurer.
Yes, of course.
And she was she knew very much what she wanted, and when she wanted something, she did it.
She did it. All right.
And this is what happened through all through her life, and this is something that she has. This is a character that she has left with us, even though she is not with us anymore.
All right. Yeah, good features. The positivity, and that's how Suriname people is. Very welcoming, very warm. You know, family orientated. You know.
Yes.
Okay. But
yes. I think when my mom moved to Africa, she also found out that in Africa, this is. These traits about being this whole characteristics about of the family, the family being the pivotal part of our society. You know, she always told us how the Gambia as a country was actually quite close to our society, was very close to the society in Paramaribo, in Suriname. That we were very much alike, and of course it should be like that, because in the end of the day, our genes are our genes are the same. Our genesis is the same. You guys are coming from Africa, and so there's no way we can be different. I mean, so the oceans might separate us, but in the end of the day, what makes us who we are today is the same. Our building blocks are the same.
It's true, and I'm very aware of that. I'm very proud of that also. And somebody like me, I'm trying to teach that day by day so people can get more conscious about it, you know. But something is changing around the world where black people are not longer oppressed or kept away from the information or from studying or from knowing what they really need to know. So we're getting there step by step. I mean, me myself, my dream is to like travel to Africa, the continent, and go to a couple of countries and see what I can do, because I really would like to know how I feel, you know, when I'm going to put my foot on the motherland again. But people are listening, and they're listening to you, and we are very conscious of the fact that we have lots and lots of family members in Africa which we don't know these days, you know what I mean? So it's something which will happen, and it will happen by the pace of the Almighty Creator himself. You see me? So this is one of the paces we're making right now. You over there, your Surinamese mother and your Gambian father, and we're talking like a brother who has just met his brother after a long time and getting to know each other, you know. So this is very, 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 very important. This is not only a radio program for me right now, but this is like a very touching thing to talk to you, to know that you come out of a Surinamese woman who took her time to not only adapt to Africa where her ancestors came from, but also took her time to let you guys know where she's from and how proud she is of course her culture and what she inherited from Africa, which was brought to Suriname and back to the Gambia when she came over there. So this is a spiritual thing happening right now, my big brother.
One thing I believe is that when the slaves were taken to that side of the world, of course they were taken there with everything that we have today as building blocks, our DNA and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But when they went there, they must have learned other things that also added to who they are today.
Yes, that is true.
And I feel when my mother came back to Africa, she came back with what she went with, but she also brought back more, from that side of the world.
Yes.
So, and I think because of all of this, we also became better human beings. Her offspring became better people because of what she brought back from Suriname. Mm-hmm. She brought back Africa and Suriname, and she came to find Africa, and together, something special was created.
Something special.
My mother was an amazing woman. She moved to the Gambia. And I can tell you one thing.
Yes.
My grandparents became best friends with my mother. And when sometimes we are very protective over our
children,
our cultures and and all of that. But my mother came back and she totally assimilated into the Gambian culture.
Wow.
And she told me she would tell us sometimes that it was not that difficult because she had Surinamese roots in her, and she was brought up in Suriname, and she had this Surinamese background in all of her. Even though she had spent quite a few years in Holland before she moved to Gambia.
Yes.
When she moved to Gambia, she assimilated very well into Gambian society.
Wow.
And she even went to a few African countries on discover journeys with my grandfather. And apparently my grandfather, I was a little bit too young. I did not know him too much. That's my father's father. Was quite a tough guy to deal with, but he fell in love with my mother.
Wow.
And he even traveled all the way to where his ancestors came from with my mother.
Wow.
So my mother was an adventurer. She did not stay in Gambia. She was the only member of our family and I'm talking about my father's siblings, who actually went to the place where my grandfather was born.
Wow. The village side.
And my grandfather was born in Mali. He came from a village called Madinakura in Mali, in Bamako. And my mother was the only person from our family who made that link to go back to where my grandfather came from.
Wow.
So she was an adventurer. I mean, she was very determined. She when she moved back to Gambia, Gambia had just gotten independence and we were just finding out tourism.
Yes.
And my mother set up the first craft market in the Gambia. She got the first craft market. This is the markets that sell gifts and crafts and all of those to tourists.
Yes.
So she actually had this idea to set up this craft market, and she got together a lot of these women who did not have opportunities to work but had skills that they could create some nice dresses, some tie and dye, some nice jewelry. And she got them together and they created the first craft market in the Gambia.
Wow. So
even in her early days in the Gambia, my mother was already starting to create her niche and contributing to the Gambian society.
Wow. She was a very influential person then.
Yes, she was extremely influential. She became my mother. I mean, she's a household name in the Gambia. I mean, if you say Mama Gina, sometimes you say Mama Gina and you get, sometimes I have goosebumps because I even remember I was talking to one of the state ministers a few years ago, and he said to me, "How's your mother?" I said to him, "Oh, she's fine. I did not know you knew my mother." And he said, "Oh, I have a big history with your mom." And I said, "Tell me." He said, "Your mother paid for me to go to school."
What? The minister?
This guy became the finance minister of our country.
And your mother paid for his school?
Yes, my mother paid for his school. So just imagine, I'm talking to someone that, and I'm not expecting this to come out of him, and he just came out and expressed this to me.
And that means your mother was doing things out of love. My
mother had a big heart that she did not only love her kids, she loved every Gambian kid. I mean, my mother was a philanthropist, she was an entrepreneur. But my mother had set up charities. One of her the charities that were very close to her heart was she had one charity that was helping deaf children.
Yes.
And she had another charity that was actually feeding the psychiatric wing of the Gambia. So we have this taboo that people who are challenged psychiatrically, that sometimes they are isolated in a camp.
Yes.
Even family members don't go there. But my mother created a charity that was clothing them, that was sending them food.
Yes.
And really, these are all, amazing things that she has done in her life. Wow. She was also a businesswoman, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to know. What business did she actually create it, or what was her business?
Because of her links to Holland, my mother she's actually, my mother was involved in quite a lot of businesses, and up to up to a few months before she passed away,
Yes.
I will tell you the story. She came to me and she said to me, she wanted me to build a shop
A shop.
in her compound. We call them compounds.
Yes.
The yard where she lived. And I said to her, Mom, why do you need to have a shop? You have, your kids can take care of you. We can do everything for you. And she said, I'm bored. I want to do something for myself. And she was 82 years at this point.
Wow.
So I said to her, okay, I mean, is this really necessary? I mean, if you want to work, I can take you to one of my hotels and I'll give you a chair in one of the stores and you can count for me what's coming in and out. She said to me, no, I want to do something for myself. And
wow.
So I said, okay, what kind of business are you going to do, Mom? What kind of business? She loved gardening. So she said, there's no one really doing a nice flower shop and a nice shop for plants. I wanted to do something I want to do something like that. And what I will do in addition to that, I'm gonna bake cakes and I'm gonna make some Surinamese food and I'm gonna do a small cafeteria and with the shop.
Okay. Okay.
And unfortunately, we were building the shop, but it was not complete. And then COVID came and overtook everything.
Oh yeah.
And unfortunately, she passed. A few months after that, she passed away. But she was, when we were younger, my mother was, because of our connection with Holland.
Yes.
I mean, she moved to Holland when she was 18, and her whole family moved to Holland eventually with her.
Yes, true.
So they all moved to Holland eventually, and her brothers and sisters, they all moved to Holland.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my cousins became a state minister. I'm sure you will know who I'm talking about. It's Mr. Frank Weering.
Frank who?
Frank Weering.
Oh yes. Oh,
yes. He's actually the son of my mother's younger sister.
Oh, okay. So he got his father's name, but they have your mother.
Yes.
All right, for real family.
Yes.
So it runs in the family.
Yes.
It runs in the family.
We had this connection in Holland, and what my mother was doing, she was importing into Gambia milk and the soft drinks from Holland. So this was one of the highlights of her business career. She was doing this in containers. A lot of milk was coming from Holland, and she was selling them in Gambia.
Wow.
She was also the first poultry farmer in the Gambia. She set up a commercial poultry farm that produced chickens and eggs.
Wow. Seriously.
And this was all in the 70s. She was doing this between the 70s and the 80s.
I'm getting jealous, man.
So you see, this is where my entrepreneurial skills came from. It didn't come by accident. It was rooted somewhere with this Mama Gina, who was she was a wonderful mother.
Yeah.
She was a mother to 5 kids.
Yes.
Her first daughter is called Anki.
Anki.
She lives in Ghana. She was a hotelier. She used to own a hotel in Ghana that actually welcomed a lot of Surinamese from Holland.
Oh.
That were visiting Ghana.
Okay.
She also has a lot of entrepreneurial skills like my mother did.
Yes.
But she's now decided to be the grandmother of her daughter's children in Ghana, and she lives in Accra.
Okay, she lives in Ghana, Accra. Okay.
She lives in Accra. My second sister's name is Aminata.
Aminata.
She's a neurosurgeon and the first female neurosurgeon in the Gambia.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we always say she took all the brains in the family.
Yeah. Okay. A part of it. Okay.
So she now resides in Namibia.
Namibia.
I'm saying all of this because it's good to know that Surinamese are all over the world. She lives in Namibia because one thing that our mother has always taught us is wherever we meet a Surinamese, they must come for dinner to the house.
For real?
Yes,
Wow,
yes. I mean,
okay.
I even furthermore during my when I built my hotels, and we started to have a lot of guests coming from Holland, and
Yes.
Surinamese were coming.
Ah,
Whenever I told my mom, today I have a Surinamese guest, she would either come to the hotel to meet the person and
so
invite them personally to go and eat at her house,
yes.
or I would ask them to go. That they have an invitation to go and eat at their house.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
okay, and then comes me,
Mm-hmm.
and then after me I have a sister Betty,
Betty.
who has a master's degree in Montessori education,
Okay.
and we have a younger brother who is actually living in the Caribbean, and he is running he's running a group of hotels in the
Okay.
Caribbean.
Okay.
So
Okay.
as you
Okay.
see, we all we all got some of this entrepreneurial skill, and this from Mama Gina. She really spent her time
Yeah.
to make sure that we were very well educated, and
Yeah.
we were very well disciplined,
Uh-huh.
and we all had an aim in life to do something out of our lives,
Yeah.
not only to help ourselves but to help our country and to help other people.
Wow.
This was her mantra.
Mm-hmm.
That she was very independent. She was a mother not only to us but to the whole neighborhood. I mean, to the whole community.
Wow.
And she believed also in financial independence, because I cannot remember a day where my mom was not talking business or thinking about business. But on top of that, also she was a philanthropist.
A philanthropist.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things she has done in the Gambian society, which includes, I mean, scholarships, paying for quite a lot of Gambians to get educated, and also contributing through a few NGO charitable organizations that she started herself. I mean, she's starting these organizations. It's not that she's just only a member. She's starting these organizations, and they are either feeding the psychiatric wing, or they are feeding the hospitals, or just things like that. So she was never she never had nothing to do.
So, wow.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
and what I really want to ask, you're telling me this, and it's a very interesting story to hear this, and knowing that it's a Suriname woman who got all this from another person who lived hundreds of years ago, and the genes was still there, and finally arrived back in Africa. But you growing up with your mother, being around her, seeing what she's doing, you're going to school, you're doing everything. When did it start for you? When did you start your own business? Because you own a couple of hotels, and so you CEO of your own company. When did you start doing that, and how did it started, and how did she help you eventually?
Yes, my background is I'm a political scientist. I studied politics.
Okay.
I went to I was born in the Gambia. I went to high school in the Gambia.
Okay.
At the end of my when I finished high school, I moved to the USA.
Okay.
I went to university in America. I studied political science, and as soon as I finished my education, I moved back to the Gambia.
All right.
There was no option but to move back, because I really felt that Gambia needed me more than America did.
Yes, for sure.
Just like my father did,
Yes.
30 years before.
Yeah.
I had the same urge to move back to the Gambia and to contribute to my country.
Wow.
So when I got back, I worked for the government. I worked in verkiezingen, you call it. In Dutch.
Which part?
So in elections.
Okay, doing elections. Verkiezingen, yes.
Verkiezingen, and I for 12 years I was the vice president of the Gambian Elections Commission.
Okay.
Yeah, I've served in commissions of good governance. I've served on boards of the Gambia Tourism Board. I have served on it. So part of another thing I learned from my mother is that the skills of multitasking.
Multitasking, yes. That's a
So
woman's.
it's not only concentrating on one thing. I mean, we concentrate on a few things.
Yes.
So I was serving the government, serving on some charitable organizations, on the board of some charitable organizations, but also keeping my eye that I knew one day that I wanted to be self-employed.
Wow.
I was not going to work for the government forever.
Yes.
I felt that my calling was bigger than just the role I had in government. So eventually I started a small company. It was a tour company called African Adventure Tours. And I was working for the government.
Okay.
And at the same time, starting up my business.
All right. Okay.
Now, the African Adventure Tours grew to the point where it became one of the biggest, we call them DMCs, Destination Management Companies.
All
That's
right.
ground tour operators in the Gambia.
Okay.
And we started to represent, big tour operators like from Holland and from the UK.
Yes.
One of them was Olympia International, and now actually it is Corendon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So so this is another place where my mother helped me, because most of my contacts were with Dutch companies.
The Dutch companies. All right. And your mother is speaking Dutch. She was speaking Dutch, and
she was speaking Dutch. She had a little bit of the Dutch mentality from her life in Holland.
Yes.
So you having the Surinamese, you have Africa, you have Suriname, you have Netherlands, all dumped into our heads.
Wow.
I feel made us a little bit. We made us quite well-rounded human beings.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
you could speak to different people in their language and think a little bit like they're thinking before, even though they might not even know that you have all this understanding of maybe how they think. But but you have it in you, and you remain silent, and you communicate in such a way that it comes with a lot of respect.
Yeah.
And because of this, a lot of these big Dutch companies started to look at us, and African Adventure became one of the biggest tour operators in the Gambia.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. Now, 15 years ago, together with a childhood friend of mine, we decided to lease a hotel. The first hotel we did was not ours.
Okay.
It was leased. It was a hotel of almost 100 rooms.
Okay.
And it became so successful. I was actually I was CEO, and I was also the general manager of the hotel, and it became so successful that the year after we took over another hotel.
Wow.
On a lease. And after that we built our first hotel, which was called the Ballafong Resort.
The Bellafong Resort. All right. And how many are there right now?
We now have under our belt actually 8 hotels.
All right. Okay.
Four of them are operational, and 2 of them we have not restarted after COVID. And the 2 other ones are mainly camps that are, one is on the river, and one is far away in actually the last village in the Gambia on the coast.
Okay.
Yeah. So the 4 hotels really that are the big resorts are called Ballafong. Another one is called Kalimba. And then we have the Tamala Resort.
Yeah.
And last hotel we bought 2 years ago is called the Combo Beach Hotel, which is actually the second biggest hotel in the Gambia.
Wow. All right.
So counting all these rooms we are the biggest. My group is the biggest hotel group in the Gambia, and we have actually as a group more rooms than any other group in West Africa.
Wow! But I also read that by the time you guys were preparing to leave and come to visit Suriname, your mother passed, so that didn't happen no more. So when are you planning to come to Suriname and to come and see the side of where your mother came from and meet with, of course, the family you didn't meet yet?
Suriname is not just a place I want to visit, but my visit to Suriname is a pilgrimage. It's something, it's something that that I have to do. It's a must. It's
a
not
must.
that I want to visit Suriname and I will think whether I'm going or not. But destination Suriname is definitely not only top, but it is really on another level of my bucket list.
Yes.
So I was supposed to visit Suriname. We were planning a trip as a family. To visit Suriname at the end of the year. Before my mother passed, and she ended up passing away before we could do it.
Yes.
It would have been for me, an amazing experience to be able to visit Suriname with my mother. But sometimes in life, we don't have control of everything that happens.
True.
And life is never too perfect.
That is true. That is true.
But I am very cognizant of the fact that when I do visit Suriname, my mother is going to be there, is going to be there right by my side.
Yes. In the spiritual form,
giving me spiritual directions
and strength
of where to go and what to do. Because my mother has been someone all through my life who has guided me and has given me support. I have never had a better supporter in my life than my mother.
Wow.
My mother is someone that I always believe that her prayers precede me.
All right.
Wherever I go, because I can still remember even when I was 40 years old, I was very well traveled. I lived in America for a lot of years. I was very accomplished as a CEO of a company. Whenever I was in Holland and I was leaving her house, I would never leave without saying to me, "Boy, be careful."
Yeah, true. No matter how old you is, she's gonna say that. Yeah, she'll always say that. Yeah.
I even remember. I mean, sometimes when I go to Holland and I stay at her house when she was living in Holland, she would not go. If I went out, to Paradiso in Amsterdam or so, and I want to come back home, she would wait up for me. She would not go to sleep until I come back home.
I think I have the same mother. The same thing is happening when I'm talking, and it's a special thing.
It's a Surinamese thing, because every Surinamese that I tell this story tells me.
I think it's a Surinamese thing, yeah. But my brother,
so Suriname is on my horizon, and I am actually even thinking of doing it before the end of this year.
Well,
it's
you are very, 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 very welcome. And let me tell you one thing: it's not just visiting Suriname. Just like you just said, it has to do with pilgrimage, and of course coming home. And you are very welcome, my brother.
Absolutely.
And time is not our friend, Malleh Sallah. I have to end our conversation, even though I don't want to. But let me tell you this: this is our first conversation, and there will be many more to come. So whenever you're ready to come and visit, let us know, and we'll make sure, and of course your family will be waiting too, but we'll make sure that your stay-in will be as pleasant as you would make us stay in the Gambia. So by this
absolutely. And can I say something as a last word?
Yes, please.
Surinamese are at home in the Gambia. Whichever Surinamese, this is something I have learned from my mother, and I have a lot of Surinamese who will attest to this. Whenever I meet a Surinamese in the Gambia, I tell them the story of my mother. I tell them that my mother always invited Surinamese to her house, and I always tell them, if you need anything in the Gambia, don't hesitate to call me. You can have my number. And if you need any advice, you have a free consultant in the Gambia, because some Surinamese are moving into the Gambia and doing business, and all of that. I always tell them, have my back, you have cover, and you are not only a Surinamese Gambia, but you are either brother or sister.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much, Malleh Sallah. I'm talking about.
Thank you.
God bless you over this. And of course, may your mother guide you in spiritual form all over and out. You also your father, and may the success you're wanting, and of course, may all your plans be successful and come true. My brother.
Amen. And I wish the same to you. I wish to Suriname.
Yes, my friend. Don't worry. We'll keep in touch. All right.
Inshallah.
I'll save your number personally. I will stay in touch.
Thank you. Look forward. Bye-bye.
Blessings. Bye-bye.